Hello, neighbors. Hello, hello. Happy Monday. I know you can't read this, but we've got a few items on the agenda tomorrow. Every single one of the items on our regular meeting agenda are on the consent agenda, except for the 2 items of unfinished business that we have for second and final votes, which I'll give a reminder on those. But we'll just go ahead and get started. If we can't get through all of these in the work session tomorrow, since they are all on the consent agenda, what we've been doing is one of the commission members is just pulling those agenda items out so that we can have discussion and hear more details on those items before we actually vote on them. So we'll be first at our work session tomorrow getting our financial update so far for fiscal year 26 from our CFO, Ms. Pickle, which she's doing, monthly. So this will be super fresh because we just rolled over into a new fiscal year. Item number 2, we're going to have a review of 4 different policies that our HR director has been working on updating. They're just going to present them, kind of go over some summaries of those items. We're not actually voting on those resolutions to update those policies until our September 2nd meeting. So you'll have time to look them over yourself and ask questions. You'll hear what we get to talk about tomorrow. But the 4 policies that they're updating are the HR policy, which is related to just like the city of Red Bank is an equal, opportunity employer. It has to do with recruitment and hiring processes, benefits, employee safety, etc. They're all uploaded on the work session packet if you want to go ahead and look at those. The second policy is qualified experience, and that has to do with vacation accrual for people who have prior relevant experience at a certain number of years, and they're kind of maybe making a mid-career shift. So it's a policy that would allow some wiggle room on, whether a newly hired employee who has years of relevant experience is coming to us, as a new employee, do they start at 0, or, do they have the potential for different PTO accrual? So that's what that policy is about, if you want to check that one out. The third policy is supervisor responsibilities, and that just is going over general responsibilities that are expected of anybody who's in a supervisory role, related to accountability, reporting and documentation, training, etc. And then the final one is our debt policy, and that is particular to the parameters by which debt obligation is undertaken by the city. So it has information in there about, like, it can only be a certain percentage of, our revenues, et cetera, and it's very long policy. I myself have not completely read it in full yet, but those are all, like I said, on the work session packet if you want to go ahead and check those out ahead of tomorrow. Item number 3, so all of the rest of these items that I'm about to talk about on the work session agenda are on the consent agenda on the regular meeting. Item number 3 is a proclamation for September as Suicide Prevention Month. I really appreciate that our staff went kind of above and beyond on this, because it's not just the proclamation. What they have uploaded into the agenda session work packet is the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network and Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services resource packet for 2025, and it is pertinent to our area and the region that we're in here in Tennessee. So they have uploaded that. It has really amazing resources in there, lots of phone numbers and locations for facilities and other kinds of community resources that you can access if you are struggling or if you know someone who is struggling with their mental health. Item number 4, we're going to be approving a quarterly payment to TPL for their on-call park support services. We already voted on this. We're budgeted to give them $50,000 for the year. So we just have to approve each payment quarterly, and that's $12,500. So that's part of that budget that we already approved when we voted on the budget. Item 5 is application for the Arts Build CCC grant. I cannot remember what that is right now. Community something grant in an amount of up to $2,000 for our active older adults art classes. We actually got this grant last year, and it helped us pay for art teachers to come in with our AOA program, and so we're going to be applying for that again. And the really cool thing about that too is that they are going to be working on some art pieces that they are then going to display in an art gala later this year. So I believe it's going to be in October or November. I can't remember right now. They haven't announced it just yet, but that will help pay for the art teacher and the supplies for our active older adults participants to be able to do that, which is just really cool. Because it's going to come right on the heels of our inaugural Red Bank Arts Festival that's happening September 27th at the Community Center. Item 6, accept a donation of approximately 7.7 acres of land from TPL, Trust for Public Land, known as the Field area. So if you want to look at the parcels, they're on a map that's uploaded to the work session agenda packet. It is 2 non-adjacent parcels that are about 7.7 acres in total, and they're currently owned by the Hill Point Homeowners Association. And so they're actually going to, they have a contract drawn up with TPL where they're going to donate those acres to TPL, and then TPL is going to donate them to us as the city because it's going to help us as we work toward restoring the field, the Potter's Field burial ground, and help with connectivity pieces from Pine Breeze Road, and then off the White Oak Connector Trail as well. So we're really grateful that the Hill Point HOA is very kindly donating these parcels to TPL to bestow upon us to put into public ownership to help us with that connectivity piece as we move forward with work on the field. Okay, item 7, apply, accept, and enter into agreement for digital literacy grant in an amount of up to $9,000. Oh, I forgot to mention that other grant from Arts Build is non-matching, so it's just $2,000 that they would give us to in the grant. This $9,000 grant from the National Association, or the National Council on Aging, is also non-matching. It's $9,000. It actually helps pay for digital literacy programming. So like you guys might have heard of locally, there's a program called Tech Goes Home, and they come in and work with our older residents who might need help working on a computer or figuring out how to use their smartphone and things like that. So this would actually pay for that and also cover some hardware that we could use in the community center for that programming and for other events that we may need to use it for. So it is non-matching. Hopefully we get it. That would be really very helpful to offset some, costs to some additional programming that our community is asking for. Right, item number 8 is approval of the purchase of 2 Ford F-150 Lightning trucks for the solid waste division. This was a budgeted item. The funds are coming from the solid waste division fund, and these are 2 hybrid trucks that the solid waste division is going to be using from our public works department. Item 9, sorry, my notes are a little out of order. Authorize agreement with Total Resources for leaf pickup, additional seasonal services in an amount not to exceed $18,000. We've done this every year since I've been elected. This has been going on since before I was elected. They work with a temp service for seasonal labor, for leaf pickup and other things like that. And that funding is budgeted, and it's coming from, half is coming from our streets department, and half is coming from solid waste. And then we've got approve item number 10, approve CARTA service agreement. So that's for our paratransit service contract agreement that we have with CARTA. It's just to formalize that agreement with them, and I'm really excited that we voted that into the budget to expand funding of that service, because we had a grant for the first 3 years and it ran out. So we are continuing to subsidize that paratransit service for our elderly and permanently and temporarily disabled Red Bank residents. And you can apply for that online. It's on our website. I'm gonna have to look back and see what that is. But if you are interested in that, you can ask me and I will find the link and let you know where that is. And then our final item is Nonprofit Citizen Advisory Board awards of the ARPA grant funds to our nonprofits. So this is our second round of nonprofit grant awards from our Federal American Rescue Plan Act funds. We awarded the first $50,000 last year. It was split up among, I think, 6 different recipients. This year we had a dramatic compared to last year increase in applicants. We actually had 20 applicants, and we are making 11 awards to 11 different nonprofits. And I wrote down some details about them. I want to touch on them really quick because I'm just really excited. It's very exciting because these nonprofits are helping to fill those gaps in our community that we as a government, we can't provide all the services that our community members need, but we can help support and offset some costs for the nonprofits that are filling those gaps and meeting those needs in our community. So Be the Change Youth Initiative, which is the shirt that I'm wearing, also in support of Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, is being awarded $4,000 to support their ongoing in-school and after-school programming at Red Bank High School. Downside Inc. is getting $5,000 for a 10-week training course for children who are neurodiverse and for their family members. Just the Right Purpose is getting $4,000 to help them in their support of individuals with mental or intellectual delays with in-home personal care needs. La Paz Chattanooga is getting $5,000 to do career readiness and educational program for Latino families. Northside Neighborhood House is getting $4,000 to support their stability program for Red Bank students and their families. The Red Bank Community Food Pantry is getting $10,000 to purchase 2 commercial refrigerators, make electrical updates to house those refrigerators, and to purchase supplemental food products for the food pantry. The Learning Gardens at Red Bank Elementary is getting $5,000 to add shade sails, ADA improvements, and a sensory area. The Red Bank High School Blue Lion Band is getting $2,000 to offer weekly private music lessons for students who are interested. The Tennessee Human Animal League is getting $2,000 for low-cost spay-neuter services to low-income residents. Vision of Mercy is getting $4,000 to support school-aged youth and families who are experiencing homelessness in Red Bank. And Waterways is getting $5,000 to help their ongoing efforts in collaboration with us to help do invasive removal from Stringer's Ranch and restoration, stream bank restoration. So that's 11 nonprofits that are doing really amazing work in our community, serving our students and our families, and I'm just glad that we're able to do something to help support them in those efforts. Those are all of the items on our work session agenda, but like I said, there are 2 items that we'll be voting on that are unfinished business from our last meeting. So it'll be second and final votes on, first, it's going to be a rezoning of 171 Oak Street from R1 residential to RTZ residential townhouse, 0 lot line. It's It's an interesting proposal. This is located up in North Red Bank on a dead-end street, and it's like only housed, I think, a mobile home or something like that. And the property owner is planning to build a single-family home and then 3 connected townhomes, 3 attached townhomes. So some very gentle density, and yeah, so it passed on the first reading. Sorry, I was just trying to think if there was anything else I needed to say about that. Passed on the first reading. Tomorrow will be second and final reading. And then the second ordinance that we're going to be voting on is updating the definition of what a townhouse is. And so we passed that on the first reading, and we're just updating that to change where before it said it was a maximum of, I think, 16 units or something like that. We removed the maximum, so it's just minimum of 3 units that are attached, and that's what defines a townhome. And then there was another item, codifying the Planning Commission ordinances that were passed in like 2001 and then 2012 that were just never incorporated into our municipal code, and making some updates to those. So that one we voted on last time, but we're not having a second and final vote on that until September 2nd because we had to do a public notice for the public hearing piece of that ordinance. So that will come back up in a couple of weeks, and that's it. If you guys have questions, you know where to find me. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow at 5 at our work session, and then regular meeting at 6 back at the city courtroom. Good night.